Okay, so this is Carrie's left eye, and the part I just circled in yellow is all of the lymph that's up in her sinus area, up in her head area. She's got a lot of lymph there. All right, that part is her parathyroid weakness. And the biggest part in her eye that I see is that part I just circled in black. That's her left lung weakness. It's pretty out there and it's pretty obvious to me. And then that part in red is her bronchial weakness. So that just could be from genetics or her diet. You know, lots of dairy products can really aggravate the lungs. So that part in blue is an ear weakness. She just got a lot of lymph and congestion in her ears, in her head, and the sinuses. That part right there in purple is a cerebellum weakness. So Carrie, if you're watching this, do you ever get dizzy? Because I see that weakness up in the brain area. That part in blue is the left ovary weakness. And the part I'm circling right now in green is kidney and adrenal weakness. We've got to really focus on that. So the bottom part is the kidney, the top little circle is the adrenal. I also see slight nerve rings in your eye, the part that I just went around in white. Nerve rings go all the way around the eye. And that's just another indicator of adrenal fatigue. And we got to really focus on those adrenals if anyone wants any type of health in their body. All right, and then in the left quadrant of the eye, I just circled in orange, that's a thyroid weakness. Now the one right to the right of that in purple, that's the parathyroid, but they really go together too. So she's got a thyroid weakness and a parathyroid weakness. Now the part I'm circling all the way around the eye right now is called a skin ring. And that's an indicator of the skin not being able to eliminate very well. And it's also another indicator of thyroid and kidney weakness. So I have a skin ring, lots of people have skin rings, and we've got a lot of people with thyroid problems and kidney problems. So it's just something you got to look for. And for anyone with a skin ring, or anyone really, I would suggest going to a sauna. And I really love dry infrared saunas. And just going in there and sweating your brains out and encouraging the body to eliminate through its third kidney, aka the skin. It's just really beneficial, and especially if you have thyroid or skin issues, eliminating through the skin. Okay, now this is Carrie's right eye, and I didn't do the little diagram where I circled parts in her eye for this one, but I'm just gonna tell what's going on in this one, and it's a very similar thing. First of all, I should have prefaced all of this by saying that Carrie has a particularly strong bodily constitution. I mean, look at the fibers of her eye. First of all, she has a true blue eye. Some people have got all kinds of toxemia issues, genetic issues, where they come out with like kind of a green, murky hazel eye. We really want crisp blue eyes or crisp brown eyes. We don't want anything in between, and if you do, it's just because, toxic tissues in the body, or, genetic issues. But Carrie has a very strong constitution. The fibers of her eye are very close together. The spokes of the wheel, you could say, very close together. And, that's just really awesome. She's got good genes, so that is a very wonderful thing. But she has a right lung weakness in her eye. Her chest cavity and rib cage area is degenerative, it looks like. Once again, in this eye, the bronchioles are weak. I see a thyroid weakness, a right kidney weakness again. We've got to get those kidneys on point. How do we do that? How do we heal anything in the body? Raw foods, detoxification, and strengthening and healing the body and the glands and organs with herbs. I see an adrenal gland weakness. Again, slight nerve rings. And then if you take a look in the white of her eye, do you see how some of the blood vessels in her eye are orange? That indicates that the liver's weak, and also she might have a sulfur buildup in their body. But I see a liver weakness again, a right ovary weakness, gallbladder weakness, which you've got to really pay attention to. So keeping the diet low fat and, not eating anything fried or anything yucky like that. Just keeping everything healthy and clean. Eating a lot of green foods. A pancreatic weakness. And I believe that is it. So Carrie's got a pretty good, strong constitution, but that doesn't mean that there's not issues there, and detoxification can definitely be used. So I'm going to go on to the next eye now. All right, this is the left eye from This Rainbow Life. She sent this to me on Instagram. So the part that I just circled in yellow is a severe left kidney weakness. The black circle is a thyroid weakness. The orange circle near the bottom is a vaginal weakness. Now this green area, that might be a shoulder weakness, but it also might be upper neck. It's kind of in between in two of the areas, and it might be either one. I'm not really sure there. The big part I'm circling right now in blue is a nerve wraith, and that indicates poor nerve innervation. You know, it goes back to the adrenal glands, of course, but also the bowels and the GI tract, and it needs cleaned up and strengthened, and the adrenals need strengthened. The orange circles those are sulfur spots or drug spots all throughout the body. And so I circled probably 4 or 5 of those. The big purple circle there's just lots of lymph and weakness up in the neck area. The red circle is a spot on the tonsils. So do you still have your tonsils? I really, really hope you do, but I do see a weakness there. The pink little circle is a lower back issue. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's more things in this eye, but I see just basically a lot of lymph in the GI tract, some bowel pockets, and got the little sulfur in the eye. There's definitely weaknesses and a lot of lymph in this eye, but I think underneath it all, you do have good genes in my opinion. So that is good. You got a pretty strong constitution. All right, this is the left eye from AKLJ Mom on Instagram. The first thing I primarily see, definitely for sure, is what I'm circling right now in black. That is nerve rings majorly. So your adrenals are probably blown out for sure. Lots of adrenal weakness here. Pretty strong nerve rings. But I have nerve rings and they can be taken care of. The part in red is a spot on the kidney, and we don't want that. The yellow circle is a major weakness in the lower abdomen. That blue circle is a left ovary weakness. This purple circle is the spleen. There's some weaknesses there and a lot of lymph in the spleen. Now, the pink circle that I'm drawing around the entire thing is a skin ring. So you have a skin ring, so once again, you've got issues eliminating through the skin, and that also indicates thyroid and kidney weakness just from the bat. So you do have a skin ring, but I have seen thicker and worse skin rings. The green circle is a cerebrum weakness. The orange circle, we got to talk about this. That's the GI tract. Your bowels are pretty dirty and pretty weak, and they definitely need cleaned up. This blue circle is the left ovary weakness, and the other blue circle that's darker is actually a major mid-back weakness. I believe I said that. And this little light pink circle towards the bottom, that's a clogged lymph node near the vaginal area. This big white circle, that's weak sinuses. Those sinuses are full of lymph in the head area, and they definitely just need cleaned up. Got a lot of mucus in the body. But the good thing about this eye is that it has a strong constitution too. I think that there's a lot of weaknesses here, but they can all be cleaned up through herbs and diet detoxification. And I think that underneath it all, you do have a strong constitution. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this left eye is there's a pretty big lung weakness. And I don't know if you've smoked or what the story is there, if it's just genetics, but I definitely see a lung weakness, and that's a big circle to the right of the eye. Okay, so this is Bratz Dolls for sale. You sent me your eyes too. And this is your right eye. I'm going to do the right eye first. So one thing I thought was interesting is that if you look in the upper right quadrant of your eye, compare that to the left, and the upper right has a lot more lymph than the left side. So just have more collected lymph in that area. I thought that was really interesting, depending on what screen I looked at, about how differently the colors looked. Okay, so actually I'm going to start with your left eye. So the part that I'm circling in black is the head area, the sinus area, and you just seem to have a lot of lymph up in there. All right, the green circle is representing your severe kidney and adrenal weakness. Now the orange circle is circling the sulfur that's in your intestines and in your GI tract. It's full of sulfur, and you know that's from prescription medication, antibiotics, and processed foods. The pink circle is a cerebrum weakness. And you do have a pretty thick skin ring. That is the yellow circle. You sent me another picture and it looked a lot more prominent in that picture. But yeah, pretty thick skin ring. The blue circle is a lung weakness. So I don't know if you are a smoker, if you just have a genetic weakness, or if you have had a lot of dairy products, but you do have a pretty significant lung weakness. Now that white part is a lymphatic rosary. I just see it slightly, but a lymphatic rosary is pretty much whenever you have lymph nodes that are clogged and your lymphatic system is just congested. So the white circles are the lymph nodes that are clogged that I see. There's one in the pelvic area, one in the upper back area, and then I see a clogged lymph node near your thyroid in the neck area. Okay, so now we're going to move to your right eye. That green circle is a lung weakness again. So it's pretty much the same in both eyes. You have this pretty significant lung weakness. And then the orange circle is a bronchial weakness. So this is pretty similar to Carrie's eye that I did in the beginning. She had a lung weakness and a bronchial weakness. The purple circle is the thyroid. So you do have a thyroid weakness. And then that yellow, it's pretty obvious. That's the sulfur in the GI tract again. It is worse in your right eye. There's a lot more sulfur there. The blue is the cerebellum weakness. And there's also sulfur stuck up in that area, in the head area. The purple, or actually that's pink, that is a neck weakness. The white, or that's light pink, I gotta get my colors right. That's your right kidney weakness and adrenal, and that definitely has to be taken care of for everyone. Kidney and adrenals, man, we gotta keep them healthy. Alright, the black circle is a pretty significant groin weakness as well. And the red part that I'm going to show is your slight nerve rings. They're not too bad, but I do see them there, and that's just indicative of more adrenal fatigue. So that is your eyes. Okay, this is Lori Bush's left eye, and I'm going to start out by saying that there's a lot of weaknesses in this body, but I do think that underneath it all you have a strong constitution. The purple is just stating that you have a pretty thick skin ring, and I've talked about that a lot in this video, so we know what that is. The yellow is there's a lot of degeneration in your neck area, and there's a lot of lymph nodes there, so we got to clean that up. The green is nerve rings, and I see them pretty significantly in this eye. So once again, just got to take care of those adrenals and also the kidneys because they go together. They're like brother and sister. Alright, now this black circle, you have a pretty degenerative and very dirty GI tract. I think there's a lot of sulfur in there too, quite a bit actually. But yeah, your GI tract is your main thing that I would focus on, honestly. Purple is a pineal gland weakness. Blue is pituitary. And the light pink there is cerebellum weakness. Okay, this red circle here, that's a pretty bad spot on the spleen. So you have a pretty weak spleen and it needs, just strengthened. And the dark purple spot is a spot on your left ovary. So I don't know if you've taken a lot of birth control or what. The orange is, let's see here, that's a groin weakness. And the pink is a kidney and adrenal weakness, and they're pretty severe, and you can see them, separately. The white is a pretty dirty large intestine, so I just really wanted to point that out. The whole GI tract, it has issues, but specifically the large intestine. The darker blue is a vaginal weakness, so I see like vaginal and ovary weakness with you. But yeah, that is your left eye. So those are the eyes that I did. Thank you guys so much for sending me them, and I will see you in the next video.